Alright guys, welcome to this YouTube video. We're going to be breaking down the Tignes World Cup 2024 predictions and all that good stuff, some insight on what's going on. I was actually here. I competed in Slopestyle yesterday. Hand touched, messed up a little bit of a rail, didn't make finals. Big air is going down today, so I'm mostly going to give my input on the big air. Mainly I'm going to go off of like who's already in finals, not like the other runs, but everybody was absolutely killing it. And the contest was just, it was crazy. It was one of those events where like you had to be super dialed. Everything had to be perfect. Course jumps wasn't massive, but technical, and you had to be very, very perfect. Otherwise, you got roasted here. So with that in mind, we're going to look at Heat 1. We got Sebastian, Server, Luca Harrington, Burke Rude, Mac Forehand, Connor Ralph, Tripod, Millsack, Kim, Gubser, and Javier Lizo making finals. They take 8 out of each heat, so 8 out of 30 people make finals. You guys can see, if you look online, the scores are a little bit low. It's 70s, high 70s for like the best runs of the day. But it was section by section scoring, so if you click on the people, you can actually see what they got out of 10 for literally every feature on the course. So that's why the scores are a little bit lower. Kind of nice to see what you're doing on each feature, how the judges like it, what you can improve on, especially if you're going into finals like these guys. And Heat 2, we got Mate with the highest score of the day. He got an 80. I saw his run. It was really crazy. We'll get into that soon. And then Andre second in Heat 2, Ahal third, Miro fourth, Hunter Henderson fifth, Torm Frostad in sixth, and Oliver Magnuson. And I cannot pronounce this guy's name. I'm sorry, but Vedbar Granberg from Norway. He had a really sick run as well. All those guys made finals in Heat 2 as well. So 16 people going to finals. I'm going to give my thoughts on who I think can take this. Obviously, it's really hard to say with the Slopestyle event. Really any kind of freestyle skiing event nowadays, because everybody's so good. Like, everybody's so good. And like all the top people they're putting down crazy, crazy runs, similar runs, and it really depends on the day, the judging, and I mean, I guess the execution a little bit. Obviously, we have our big names that are like, people are gonna assume they're gonna win, but I have a little bit of insight on other people that might be able to steal it. We have Mac. I'm going to put Mac up there for sure. Burke Rude, obviously, is super consistent, and he proves himself every event. And then we switch to Heat 2, and we have Mate, Andre, and Ahal, which are all like, Mate, Andre, Ahal, Mac, and Burke. Like, those five are like, they're just, you don't want to say they're going to end up on the podium at every event. Obviously, it's super hard to be consistent, but they are very, very consistent skiers with very, very good tricks for slope runs and slope events like this. Right off the bat, I'm going to say dark horse that could really do well here is Miro. Tabanelli has been crushing it this season, big air. Not necessarily slope, but he has been putting down some really, really good slope runs. And I saw him in training. He was doing switch on that 14. I saw him do a switch 16 in the second jump. He didn't even do that in the contest. And we know he can do switch 18 like absolutely nobody's business. And I think he'll probably end up doing switch 14 to switch 18. And his last jump is really good. His rails are really good. He was doing, I don't want to say exactly what he's doing because I'm not 100% sure. I did watch his whole run. I believe he was doing like switch 2, back 2, and then 4 on, and then another like 2 in front cork 4 or something or back 6 out of the cannon, which rails were standing up to everybody else's. And if he can put a switch 18 in that run, he's going to have the highest DD jump run out of anybody, in my opinion, like technical difficulty wise. Mate's going to have the creativity and stuff like that, but Miro's going to have, like, if he can put a switch 18 in there, switch 14 to switch 18, and then he has like a 14 or 16 at the bottom run, it's going to be really hard to beat him. And he's been skiing super consistently. So I'm watching him in training. I was super impressed, and I think he has a really good chance of actually podiuming at this event and doing it really well. Another dark horse for this is Tormod Frostad. I watched his skiing at this event. I mean, the guy is so good, like all around, but he was skiing super, super clean, super consistently. He ended up 6th in this heat, and his rails and his jumps and everything were very, very good, very perfect. 14 to 14, really, really good rails, creative rails like he does. And then a switched up Misty 12 at the bottom, like huge, super stomp, super stylish. My only thing with him is I don't know how he's going to really up that run. Like, he could improve a couple of the rails, but I don't know if it's going to be enough to bump him into a podium spot. He could do the switch Misty 16. We know he has that on the bottom jump. Bottom jump's pretty small for that trick. So I definitely think he's going to stomp around and be up there. But obviously, people are going to fall. People are going to make mistakes. So there's good opportunities for like Miro, Torm, and Ken. I'm just looking at Heat 2 right here, but Hunter Henderson ended up in 5th. That guy's so good as well. That guy has crazy, crazy jumps and crazy skills. And his jump run was really, really good. He was one of the only people doing a switch 16 on the bottom jump, and he could definitely up it. So Dark horses for this, I'm going to go with Miro and Hunter Henderson from Heat 2. We'll go Heat 1 and we'll go some dark horses here. I think it's going to be time for Luka to shine eventually. Like, Luka has to land a run, like a clean run and make a podium. Like, it's bound to happen. It has to happen. The guy has the skills. He's been cranking the tricks. He's been doing super well World Cups. It's got to happen for him, and I think the same for Connor Ralph. Both of them are really, really good. They're sending it. They're super consistent. So my dark horses for Heat 2 are Luka Harrington and Connor Ralph. So I got Luka Harrington, Connor Ralph, and then I got Miro and Hunter Henderson as the 4 kind of like dark horses to kind of shake up the podium from your typical like Mac, Burke, Ahal, Andre, and Matei style. Of course, I think Sebastian's up there. I wouldn't put him in a dark horse. I think he's proven himself to be consistent and good enough to not be a dark horse. So as for the podium for this event, I think the podium's going to end up, I just don't see, I know Matei got the highest score. We'll see. I mean, he had one of the better runs for sure. He was doing like the crazy like Tokyo Drift pretzel one in the first jump, and then I think a pre-nose grab, switched up 9 in the second, and then he had a really, really nice nose butter 16 on the bottom. I don't know. I just have a feeling that something might just go a little bit wrong in one of his runs, and it's just gonna cost him. Like, it's not gonna be 100% clean, and they're gonna dock him just a little bit where he's off the podium for that. For Andre, I think Andre's gonna lay up this one. I think he's just so consistent. He's got such good training. He's got such good rails. He's got such good jumps. He's been upping his jumps and improving his jumps each run. You can see run 1, 75, run 2, 78.9, and he can still improve his jumps and his run. He was only doing dub 12 in the second jump. He's going to go 16, and he can even improve his rails. And I just think he's too consistent. It's about time Andre ends up in podium. So I'm going to put Andre in first because I think he's going to be just the most consistent with the highest DD tricks. Ahal obviously had super creative jump run, super creative rail run, and it was really, really good to see. He was doing, I think, dub 12 seatbelt to switch dub 12 mute on the top jump, and then super creative, like one takeoff, 180, switch tails into like the other rail beside it. Super creative rail. So he's getting creativity points for sure. And his last jump he did cork 7, pull back to 5. He's going to go dub 9. That's going to boost him up as well in the scores. I don't see him winning this event, but I do see him ending up like 3rd or 4th for sure. With that being said, I'm going to put Andre from Heat 2. I'm going to put Andre in first. I'm going to put Ahal, maybe 3rd. Excluding the dark horses, I'm going to say Mac. I think it's going to be really hard for Mac to mess. If Mac lands his run, he's got to end up on the podium, and he's going to up it a lot as well. And we'll see where it goes from there. But I wouldn't be surprised if somebody like Sebastian snuck in. Burke could also obviously, lay it up. It's really hard to say with how many good skiers are in here. So let's head over to Big Air, and we'll do Big Air right now. So for Big Air, we have the results for Heat 1. We don't have the results for Heat 2 yet because they haven't started Heat 2. So I'm going to go with who qualified for Big Air in Heat 1 first. So in first, we have Burke Ruud, which, that checks out. He's the Big Air GOAT with a 92 on his first jump and 85 on his third jump. So Elias Tajeris in second, which it honestly hasn't been surprising this year because he's been doing very well in Big Air with, I don't want to say easy tricks, but very creative tricks because he's doing like singles or double with the pullback or like switch tail butter like bio 10s or something like that. So very creative and different tricks that nobody else is doing, and the judges have really liked it and they've been scoring it super well. Luka obviously in third. That guy's the Terminator. Like I said, it's going to be very hard to beat him. He's got the Big Air tricks. I was seeing him do 18 stales on this jump. He's going to do a switch 18 as well. He's got those so dialed. One thing to note about this jump, it's not very big. It's big enough, but it's not massive. It's not a massive slopestyle or a Big Air jump. So doing anything past 18 it's going to be pretty hard. Ahal made finals as well. He got 2 good scores on the board. I'm sure he did like switch tail butter, dub 12 or something, and then he did his dub 9 pullback. They love that. I'm surprised to see Torm up here just because we don't see him do like crazy big tricks like past 16 or 18 that much, but the guy's so good and so dialed. I'm sure he did like switch up Misty 16 and then maybe a really crazy creative 14 or 16. We'll look at some people here. Miro Tabinelli did not make finals, which is actually really surprising because that guy has been just destroying every Big Air this year. I saw him do a switch 19 on this jump, which is mind-blowing because most people couldn't even get a switch 18 around in this jump, and he's doing switch 19s. He must have just messed something up, missed a grab, got like a 40. So Heat 2, we got Connor Ralph, Andrew Getley, Edward Theriault, Fabian Bosch, Evan McEachran, T-Pod, Lucas, Matei, Mac Forehand, Leo Landro. We got Gen Fuji, super good at big air as well. Some really, really good people in this heat as well. So I'm going to just throw out my picks for Heat 1 to perform well in finals and possibly win it. I'm going to say Burke. Obviously, you can't go against Burke. Burke is going to be on the podium, I think, for sure in big air. I think Elias Tajaris has good enough tricks to come close to the podium with his creativity and the pullbacks and everything, but I don't think it's enough to win the event. So I'm going to say he's going to end up around 4th or 5th. I think Luca Harrington is going to pull something out of his ass, and I think he's going to podium. I don't know. I'm kind of pulling for Luca Harrington in this event. I just see it as his time. Same with A-Hall. I think A-Hall has really good pullback tricks, stuff like that for this jump. I just don't know if it's going to be enough to beat somebody like Burke Ruge, who's going to do like, you know, a dub bio 18 on this jump. As for E2, Connor Ralph has got really, really good big air tricks if it's on a big enough jump. He's got switch 18 stale. He's got switch trip 18s, which are absolutely crazy. The one with Trapani did in copper was like one of the most beautiful tricks I've ever seen. I don't think this jump's big enough to do it. I see him maybe making finals. I don't see him ending up on the podium. Andre Rigettli, I saw him do dub 16, dub tail perfectly. He can go 18 on that jump. He's really, really good at that. And he's got that with the switched up Misty 16. I saw that as well. He's definitely going to be in finals, if not qualifying in that top spot. Fabian Bosch has been getting really unlucky at World Cups lately, especially the big air World Cups. He's been doing like trip 18 to switch trip 18 and like still being one spot out of finals. They don't really like the safety grabs he's doing, which I understand, but also like he's doing 2 trip 18s, which is pretty crazy. I don't think the jump is big enough to really do good trip 18s in this jump. If he can do it, I think he's going to be in finals. We'll see. Evan McEachran, the homie, probably going to do both those switch 18s. If he can land that and grab them good, definitely in finals. As for T-Pod, he's going to trip 18. We know that. He's going to do switch up Misty 16. The jump is big enough for him to do it, maybe only him to do it. But he'll do it, and he'll make finals. Outside of that, Lucas Mueller crushing it, saw switch 18. He's definitely going to do well. Mate is going to do really well. And Mac, I think, is going to do really well as well. Outside of those, like that's kind of like the top people at the front. We got Leo Landro. He's got a lot of potential to do well here. It's not a big enough jump for him to do his really crazy like trip 18s and stuff, but he's also got other good jumps. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's in finals. Based on everybody that's in Heat 2 and Heat 1, I'm going to pick my top 5. I think it's time for Andre to win a big air. So first place is Andre. I think for the size of the jump, the tricks he has, and the consistency he has of that, he's going to do switch to Misty 18. He's going to do a forward 18 or 19. And it's really hard to do anything more than that on that jump. And he's going to do it perfectly. I'm going to put Andre in first. Second, I think it's going to be really hard to beat Burke because he's just so consistent and he's got the big tricks like Andre. And third, I'm going to go with my dark horse, Luca. I think fourth place, I'm going to go A-Hall because they're going to let the creativity shine through. Wow, five is really hard to pick. Fifth place, I'm going to go with T-Pod because he's going to do his trip 18. He's going to do a switched up Misty 16. If he can land it, it's going to be really hard to beat. Anyways, that's my top 5 for big air. This is my picks for Slopestyle. I hope you guys enjoyed this and more to come. Let me know what you think about giving my predictions and breakdowns for these events. I think it's really fun and really interesting to do. And I'll see you in the next YouTube video. Deuces.